The beginning stage of our lives starts with trust. A trust that our parents will guide us, transforming us as we become students. This is a story about trust, transformation, and students. Dr. Robert Plutchik identifies trust as one of the 8 basic emotions on his feelings wheel. Trust, he says, makes us feel safe and accepted, and it helps us build alliances. These traits, feeling safe and accepted, are the ones that we need in higher education if we want to build authentic rapport with students. But think about it. Why do we need to have rapport with students at all? To answer this question, allow me the opportunity to share with you the comprehensive transformational effort I'm a part of. Colleges across the entire United States are redesigning their operations and culture to close persistent equity gaps with students. It has become evident that our current structures and practices on campuses are the cause of these inequities. Colleges have made it their goal to build campuses that are considered to be student-ready. Student-ready meaning that those that respond to their academic and other needs holistically. The work is undertaken by cross-functional teams, professional staff, academics, instructors, faculty on each campus, ideally with student input, keeping in mind that student input requires trust. To work in this transformational change effort, we zeroed in on one question. How could we find an inclusive way to engage students and have their voices guide the campus redesign process? In the process, had we considered the plight of the culture of our disproportionately impacted student populations? Do they feel and understand that the sky is the limit for them and they can pursue as much education as they want or not? To answer these questions, you see, what we had to do was stumble upon a brilliant idea. But more on that brilliant idea in a little bit. Let's face it, in academia, we're very smart people. We have scaled multiple paths to success. We've earned degrees and acumen that highlight our skills. And of course, most importantly, we call ourselves higher education. What more could we possibly need other than our smart, highly educated selves to transform our institutions? We saw that most colleges spoke about the student experience without ever actually asking the students what their input and experience was. This is especially true for our Black and brown students. Professionals trust themselves to know what is best for students. But do students trust professionals and the assumptions? And are those assumptions even correct? We thought that perhaps we needed to involve students directly in this structured redesign effort we were pulling together, so that what we were planning to develop would actually work for those students. Okay, so now for that brilliant idea. So we devised this plan. We would go to students and ask for their input about specific operational changes we were thinking of making. Instead of asking a few student representatives, as you know we do on California community colleges and community colleges across the country in meetings, we plan to engage students en masse on campus spaces where they already were. Virtually, in the classroom, on the quad, at student-related events. We designed activities for them and offered them college swag in return. So you can imagine we were feeling pretty confident about this concept. It was thought out. It was developed by us, the professionals, the academics, the education experts. That is, until we asked a few students what they thought about this brilliant idea. Immediately, one young Latina asked us a question. Tell me again, who is going to engage with students on the quad? I remember proudly saying, this is a very good question. And then higher edu-splaining to her that we would. The collective we in this case was the cross-functional teams, college administrators, faculty, staff, regional coordinators. She laughed and quickly said, no. No. If you want it to work, then let students talk to other students. You know, we already know and trust each other. In higher education, sometimes we forget that students are very smart people too. They come from and operate in a different space, carrying with them perspectives and wisdom that we as higher education professionals may never have been exposed to. We try to simplify the complex. And we sort of did that in this human engagement and student engagement concept. But it was the students that reminded us to simplify the simple, to build our own trust in students and to rely on the trust that already exists amongst them. As higher education professionals, we need to have empathy and humility to hear students' voices and understand that wisdom. So we ask you to consider this. To build trust, if you're going to engage students to co-create and have this inclusive and diverse environment, then ask them for input over feedback. Feedback is useful and not just part of what we talk to for students in this realm, but feedback is something that we consider for students when we ask them, hey, what do you think of what we're doing? Input, in contrast, is based upon us collectively pulling our thoughts together with students and engaging them, asking them to collaborate. Hey, how do we build our future together as equal and equity partners? How should we approach this work? This approach fosters trust. It signals that we accept students as equals, that their perspective is safe with us, and that we want to build alliances with them. So buckle up. Think of student engagement like a crew or rowing team. It is our responsibility as higher education professionals to be the stewards of the higher education student journey, to collaborate with them, to design, build, maintain the waterways. We must ensure that the boat and the environment are in the best possible conditions, ready for students to row as they embark in their higher education journey. For generations, students have trusted the waterways that we've built for them. Recently, however, it's really become true and clear that higher education canals could benefit greatly from centering students' perspectives. We can and should trust students to give input, so we, the higher education professionals, can help them move through the water seamlessly. It's incumbent upon us to teach them how to guide the oars and at times stroke with them to help them have the experience that's the best race of their lives. Because let's face it, we are all in the same boat together. Most importantly, walk away with this. If you want to create a trusting, inclusive space that is equitable and shows the right representation of students to be collaborators and engage with us, we can do so by asking them to invite their natural allies, fellow students, for input. Input that is rooted in trust and acceptance. Input that is by students, with students, student to student, and equitably for students. Thank you.